if you could hit the reset button on history? Imagine a world where thousands of years of human achievement, of rising and falling empires, were all erased and rewritten in a single impossible moment. What if humanity's greatest ancient civilizations, the Romans, the Han, the Persians, the Egyptians, all burst onto the world stage at the exact same time? This isn't just a story of a different past. It's the story of a global reset, where all the major players start the game in the year 3000 BCE. Section 1. The Great Reset. Let's set the scene. The year is 3000 BCE. In our timeline, this was the dawn of the Bronze Age. The very first complex societies were just dipping their toes in the water. Egypt's first dynasties were starting to unify the Nile, and Sumerian city-states were laying the literal groundwork for civilization in Mesopotamia. The world population was a tiny fraction of what it would become, an estimated 15 to 30 million people scattered across the globe. Now let's rewrite that reality. In a flash, on this primitive Bronze Age stage, fully formed empires just appear. In the heart of Europe, the Roman Republic, with its disciplined legions and revolutionary legal codes, springs into existence. Far to the east, the colossal Han dynasty of China, a powerhouse of bureaucracy and invention, materializes with its huge population. Between them, the Achaemenid Persian Empire, masters of infrastructure and administration, takes root. To the south, the Mauryan Empire of India establishes its domain. And in Africa, the Kingdom of Kush arises, a future center of industry and trade. And here's the kicker. These aren't brand new fledgling states. They arrive with all their knowledge intact. They have the blueprints for their societies, their military strategies, their philosophies, and their advanced technologies, all teleported thousands of years out of time. They have the knowledge of iron, but they've woken up in a world that's just figured out bronze. They understand complex statecraft, but they're surrounded by scattered tribal societies. Their immediate challenge is just survival. The world of 3000 BCE isn't ready for them. There are no sprawling farms to feed their millions, no established mines for the iron they desperately need for their weapons and tools. Those first few decades are a frantic scramble. Using their advanced knowledge, Roman engineers start building their legendary aqueducts to support new cities. Han pioneers, armed with the know-how for cast iron plows, begin transforming barren landscapes into productive farmland. The Persians, with their genius for logistics, immediately start planning the great road networks that will connect their new empire. They're islands of the future in a prehistoric ocean, and their very existence is a mind-bending paradox. Section 2. The First Encounters, a New Iron Age. Fast forward a century. After a period of frantically securing their footing, these out-of-time empires finally meet. The world of 3000 BCE suddenly feels like a very small place. This isn't a slow, gradual discovery over millennia. It's an abrupt, world-altering collision. The first big flashpoint? Resources. All of these empires possess the knowledge of iron, but they have to find the ore to make it. This sparks a new kind of arms race. Kushite ironworking techniques, the very skills that would make Meroe an industrial giant in our timeline much later, suddenly become one of the hottest commodities on the planet. Roman and Persian scouts probably clash in the mountains of Anatolia, a region rich in metals, as each side tries to secure the resources that will give them a military edge. The first real wars aren't just for territory, but for technology. A Roman legion, with its disciplined formations and brilliant organization, is a terrifying force. But what happens when that legion faces a Han army armed with mass-produced crossbows, a weapon that shouldn't exist for another 2,000 years? Roman military doctrine, which always relied on flexibility, is put to the ultimate test. You can bet they'd be capturing Han weapons and desperately trying to reverse engineer them. Of course, trade routes form almost as fast as battle lines. The Persians, with their central location, quickly establish the arteries of this new world. Along these new Silk Roads, goods and ideas flow at a speed that's simply unheard of. Roman concrete recipes might be traded for Han papermaking techniques, changing architecture and record-keeping forever. Mauryan administrative strategies like those detailed in the Arthashastra become a subject of intense study in Roman and Persian courts, offering new blueprints for governing huge populations. This isn't a slow diffusion over centuries, it's a supercharged exchange that puts development on hyperspeed. Section 3. The Clash of Ideas. With contact established, the fight moves from the battlefield to the mind. It becomes a war of cultures and ideas. In our history, major philosophies and religions grew up in relative isolation before spreading. Here, they're all tossed into the arena at once. Roman law, with its principles of contracts and jurisprudence, slams right into the sophisticated, merit-based bureaucratic systems of the Han. You'd see ambitious rulers from every empire trying to blend these systems, creating hybrid governments never before seen. Imagine a Persian king, already ruling through his network of satraps, adopting the Mauryan Empire's intricate system of spies to keep his vast domain under control. Or a Roman consul, blown away by the efficiency of the Han civil service, trying to introduce exams to select officials based on merit instead of family connections. And naturally, religion becomes both a powerful political tool and a massive source of friction. Would the pantheons of the Romans and Egyptians find some common ground, or would their priests see each other as existential rivals? How would the philosophical traditions of the East, like the Buddhism and Jainism that thrived under the Mauryans, do when introduced to the pragmatic empire-building Romans? These beliefs are no longer local faiths. They are now competing ideologies on a global stage. This clash creates a world of incredible intellectual energy, but also one of deep, simmering tension. Section 4. A different classical and medieval era. As the centuries tick by, this alternate world develops a history that is entirely its own. Something becomes clear. There's no single, unstoppable superpower like Rome was in our history. Instead, a fragile, multipolar balance of power emerges. The world is a chessboard of great powers, each one too strong to be conquered by any single foe. Massive alliance blocks would have to form. Maybe the seafaring Romans, with their powerful navy, team up with the Mauryans, who also had a notable naval force, to control the sea lanes from the Mediterranean all the way to the Indian Ocean. That would create an incredible economic and naval axis. In response, the land-based empires might forge a counter-alliance. The Han dynasty, with its immense manpower and industrial capacity, could join forces with the Persian Empire, whose strategic location and road networks could unite the Asian continent. The world wars of this timeline aren't fought with swords and spears. They're happening in 1500 BCE, with armies using technology that is millennia ahead of schedule. Roman legions, now equipped with their own versions of the crossbow, clash with Han cavalry using advanced stirrups. Persian immortals, their elite shock troops, might find themselves facing Mauryan war elephants in the mountain passes of the Hindu Kush. These conflicts are unbelievably destructive, but they also fuel innovation. The Han's mastery of metallurgy, especially their advanced cast iron production using early blast furnaces, becomes the single most important military technology. The world gets locked into a state of perpetual high-stakes competition. Section 5. Towards a new modern world. So by the time we get to what we'd call the modern era, this alternate world is completely alien. The constant competition and supercharged exchange of ideas have had a dramatic effect on progress. The Industrial Revolution doesn't kick off in 18th century Britain. It starts 1,000 years earlier, fueled by the combined knowledge of Roman engineering, Han metallurgy, and Persian logistics. The water wheel, which the Han used to power bellows for their furnaces, is adapted by Roman engineers to run massive factories. Society is transformed. Cities aren't just collections of stone and wood. They are massive, planned metropolises of concrete, connected by road and aqueduct systems that dwarf anything from our own history. Where are they by our 21st century? Light years ahead, technologically speaking. They may have achieved spaceflight centuries ago, powered by the immense industrial might of these competing superstates. Their science, mathematics, and medicine are built on thousands of years of shared competitive discovery. But this world is also more fractured. The grand empires of the reset never faded. They evolved, consolidated, and carved the globe into a handful of continent-spanning megastates. The Roman Republic might now be a solar republic, its domain stretching across planets. The Han Dynasty might rule its own stellar empire. The old rivalries that began back in 3000 BCE have not been forgotten. They have simply been scaled up to an interplanetary level. There has been no single end of history, only an escalation of the same ancient game. What a wild ride, right? If you love getting lost in these huge historical what-ifs, do us a favor and subscribe and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the pages of unwritten history. So a global reset in 3000 BCE would have created a world of accelerated conflict and breathtaking innovation. The simultaneous rise of humanity's greatest empires would have compressed thousands of years of development into a few chaotic, brilliant centuries. It would have led to a world that is, in many ways, far more advanced than our own. A world of technological marvels born from constant competition. But it would also be a world locked in a permanent state of tension, a global chessboard dominated by ancient rivalries that never died. But it leaves us with one big question. Is this remixed history better? Would it create a more advanced humanity or just a more divided one? Let us know what you think in the comments below.